Okay, people have been asking me about these story and soul retreats that I am hosting with Emma McCauley up in the Scottish Highlands, and over in Skye, Isle of Skye, so both in Scotland. And I'm excited. I'm excited to bring this forward. I feel like, oh my gosh, how come more of this doesn't already exist? Like, I feel like I'm on the cusp of something, and I know that people are running beautiful experiences in various places. I just don't see anyone up here doing exactly what we're doing. And it's very exciting to me, because we are blending a feeling of being truly nourished and taken care of and luxurious and restorative principles. You know, we have beautiful vans that we drive around in, these luxury vans. We stay in spaces that are warm and hospitable. So it's beyond even it being a nice place to stay, but also then it becomes more about the atmosphere and experience. The whole energy of what we curate is very intentional, and it begins with meaning, and therefore your trip will also end with greater meaning. That's what I feel. So this is really about being immersed in a place deeply enough that something in you has room to wake up and to settle into a new way of living. Every single person that was on our retreat back in April, I felt a shift happen for them that was going to be different than the way that they had lived before. And I actually really don't think a lot of people need another holiday, where they turn off and drink and vape and nothing else. And I don't think that people need that. I think people need to be somewhere that lets them hear themselves again, that lets them feel like themselves. And so our Soul of the North retreat in November is not really a tick your bucket list Scotland stuff off, although we'll also do that because we will also take you on really awesome excursions. But we don't tire you out with that, right? Like we will make sure that you have new experiences and grounded experiences. We're going to take you to nature and spiritual places so that you're also feeling restored. We're not whisking you through 10 museums a day or anything ridiculous like that. So the place is in the north. That's why we called it Soul of the North. And we noticed, we have gone to tourism events and heard from Tourism Scotland that we've noticed a lot of people are going quite quickly through the first part of the North Coast 500 NC 500 track. The the road itself is such a stunning journey. It's even more beautiful when you slow it down. So we have this amazing spot near Caithness, called Force of Nature. So you can go look them up. We absolutely love them. They have treated us so kindly. We did have our retreat part at Force of Nature in April, and they were amazing. It was our favorite part as far as the location is concerned, as far as where we were staying. So we knew that we had to go back and return to them. They have a lot of beautiful handmade touches throughout the place, and there's like a feel of so much intention. Everything has been chosen very well for the space itself. In the Scottish Highlands, right? Picture salty sea and stone and wind and these landscapes that just go on, like very long landscapes. It's a really beautiful, almost stark contrast to the busyness of if you are living in a city. Think of fireside old stories and think of deeply relaxing yoga, meditation, journeying with drums, getting warm after being outside on some stroll through the day, shared cups of tea and laughter because we always have many, many giggles while we are on retreat. And the feeling of stepping out of the normal pace of your life and letting your whole nervous system just slow down and not having to perform for anybody or be responsible to anybody but yourself in that time. And not every one of your hours and minutes is going to be filled, and we're not going to tell you what you have to do. In fact, I invite you to choose for yourself with intuitive connection what feels best for you. To breathe and to just be is the goal. And to remember yourself through the rich stories and landscapes and experiences that we will provide. If you want to do a lot, believe me, you can also do a lot. And I'll make sure that if you want sessions with me, you can get a lot out of it as well. Both Emma and I bonded a lot over caring greatly about more meaningful travel. I was just traveling because that's my life. And she has been a luxury tour guide for years. Her business has really picked up because the way that she holds space and organizes people and shares stories is on point. I don't know anyone as good as her, at least in the Highlands. I mean, I'd love to meet them too. I think we should all thrive and succeed. I just really feel like she's something special, and her storytelling, especially because she's always lived in the Highlands, makes a perfect balance to my coming back to my ancestral roots and being in a more regenerative travel place myself of looking to actually create more meaning and relationship with the places and lands that I'm going to. For me, I'm really not about consuming a destination for its tourist traps. I'm very curious about like the history and the culture and the food and the stories and the folklore and the landscape itself and how it breathes and speaks. And I'm curious about the ancestors. I'm curious about my feelings. I'm curious about who I am and how I change in these various lands. And I'm very curious about more local things. So we make sure to bring all of that in. So you get a real deal vacation, not something that, or maybe a real deal retreat and, respite versus a vacay, Um, it's not that we can't be casual over breakfast. It's that we know how special it is to feel seen in the morning. You know what I mean? Like there is a real difference, and there are casual moments. We're not like serious in that sense, but I can meet you at the depth that you're looking for when you visit. And so the retreating is not really a like go self-improve yourself or force some crazy transformation that then you have to go and go home and try to recover from. And we don't need to pretend that every single thing is profound and every leaf is telling you a message, but every leaf can tell you a message if you want as well. And some moments will be ceremonial. I do feel it's important for us to come together, and that is done through ceremony. And some of those moments could be deeply emotional. I've cried in Scotland just looking at a lighthouse, you guys, because I was like, this is so beautiful. Life is so perfect. I mean, as you can see from my recent videos, I also cry pretty easily. So, take that for what you will. You will also, though, have really, really good food, like really good food. They have a cafe there. And so we had already tested it out multiple times before we went and saw them. And then when we go on retreat, there's so much like more intention, and they actually use things at Force of Nature from their back garden. And when we're on Isle of Skye, we're also going to have top-notch food, like top-notch. I'm really excited. And the laughter that you'll get, the walking somewhere just so, it's like profoundly beautiful. But just walking somewhere beautiful, it could be so simple. We can go on a forest walk. You can sit around and talk. And yes, you can do all that where you currently are. But is that working? Right? Sometimes. Let's go in all the way and have these sensory parts of you wake up, because I will be bringing aromatherapy through. There are bathtubs, there are salt and sea immersions. There's a sauna on, I think, on the sea or right by the sea. We have fires planned. We are going to visit ancient sites, ancient places. And the sense that we have being there is so radically different than anything you've ever known. So if you have not been to these spaces, you really don't know until you're here. And that's why this invitation is going out to you. In November, it will be that early darkness and autumn. And we are doing a lot of inner crone work, finding the source of our inner wisdoms, connecting with the land and the wisdom held within her, and the traditions and stories held by our humans over time. So if you don't want a surface level kind of travel experience and you are looking to create more beauty and meaning and wonder in your life, or you're in a big transition, or if you just want to feel more present in your life, or if you really love depth, but you also just really want to enjoy yourself, like you like depth and pleasure, that's what we're for. Or if you just love Scotland, right? If you love Scotland, you've been thinking about it and strangely feeling pulled towards it for years, then I invite you to join us in November for Soul of the North, or March for Isle of Skye, Awakening Wonder from Within. But if you join us in November, it might change your life, and then maybe you'll be back. You don't need to be transformed or be spiritual or speak in a certain way or figure anything out at all. You just show up, and you can also be very much on your path, and I will meet you where you are at. Just changing your environment, changing the context of how you see things can reveal so much to us. Sometimes you remember yourself more deeply when you get away because your normal environment is not as loud. And then you can really sense yourself from within. So we want you to leave knowing Scotland obviously a little more deeply than you did before, but truly also knowing yourself a little more deeply. That to me is what the Soul of the North is about. And I will keep sharing elements that I sense are coming in for us. And please do get in touch because there are limited spaces available as people are starting to sign up. I'm very excited to welcome you all into Scotland for Soul of the North in November. Do sit with it in your heart. There are payment plans available. There's ways that we can figure out shared spaces. We actually have a bring a friend offer available that makes it less expensive. So if you know someone who wants to come with you, that's a good thing. There also are limited spaces of that available. So, the sooner the better that we can know. And ultimately, it'll be really beautiful and really powerful for everyone involved. I absolutely loved our April retreat. I loved the retreat that I did the last year in October. I'm excited for the one in September upcoming with Arlene Porter. It's a weekend retreat in Stirling in Scotland. This is where my work lives in probably the best way, is in person with me. And this is an experience that people can have that I have not had open for a number of years. Working with me in person has been a very challenging thing to do since I move around a lot. Retreats are the way to go. So I will see you there. See you in Scotland.